Here's why we don't let clients use their cell phone, they don't have any books, why we don't play any movies. At Upside Tattoo, that's just what we require before you make your appointment. It's better for me because as the artist, I don't want to have to work with the client who's fumbling with their phone, their books, it's constantly dropping. If they're watching something funny or a movie or even something scary like they're jumping or they're laughing, it's jarring to the tattoo artist who has to focus and be in flow state. And also for the client, it's not really that helpful because what they're doing is they're just distracting themselves from the tattoo. Why does that sound so strange when I say it? But it's not, because you're getting this tattoo, whether it's an hour, 4 hours, or 8 hours, even longer. I've done 7 days back to back. We're just trying to find a way to cope with the external pain. So when we're getting tattooed, we want to watch a movie, we want to read a book, we want to listen to some music, an audiobook. But what happens when that book or that chapter or that segment is done, your brain is up here, your awareness, and all of a sudden you come back down to the place where you're supposed to get tattooed, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I'm getting tattooed, it hurts. And you start to send these physiological responses to the body, and you start to freak out, you panic. And most clients go, oh my God, this sucks so much. They're constantly changing songs, they may be trying to pick another movie frantically, or it's a coping mechanism for an external factor. What you need to do is get into a flow state. So whatever that flow state means to you, you don't have control of the external environment, you have control of the inside. One of the best things that I've done when I got tattooed for 7 days, it was about 43 hours. We did my hand, my stomach, my ribs, both sides of the chest and both sides of the neck. I did start off with an audiobook. I listened to David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, and it was super helpful because it was the first time I got to look into the mind of somebody who was dealing with external pain, and he walks you through that process through multiple instances. So I listened to it for my first session, which was about 5.5 hours. The next session was about 4 hours across the stomach. And when I was done with that audiobook, I realized that no matter what was going on outside of me, it's all inside here. You can choose to disconnect from that pain. Crazy as it sounds, I spent the next 5 days of my tattoo sessions, no music, no audiobooks. That's not to say it didn't hurt. You have to find your flow state, whether it's through breathing, meditating, maybe perhaps you're having conversations with the artist. Those are all forms of just being able to deal with an external factor without having to have books, movies, or music. I found that as a tattoo artist, it's also very helpful for me to not have any movies on, or for me to listen to any audiobooks or any music inside my own headphones, just because I do want to connect with the client. But if there's a movie that's really going on and I'm super excited, I may end up freezing and watching that movie, and it's not really courteous to the client either. So it's not conducive to productivity and getting the most tattooing done. It takes you out of your flow state of being a creator. Now you're just consuming, you're watching something else. It's not conducive. Same thing with audiobooks. I can't really pay attention to the audiobooks because I'm trying to focus on the tattoo. And if I'm really focused and listening to the audiobook, I'm not focused on the tattoo. So it's not fair to the client either. What I found is for me, I listen to theta music, theta sounds, lo-fi, anything that's rhythmic and it's not too jarring and it has the same tempo throughout the day. It allows me to stay in that flow state longer. Let's say if you're constantly putting your music on shuffle and you're on rap music one time, then you're on rock music another time, then you jump to reggae, and then you jump to something if you keep changing the music throughout the day, you're constantly in and out of this flow state. As a client, if you're in an environment like that, it's hard for you to stay in the flow state. So as much as we want clients to not be on their cell phones, their books, their movies, we have to find a way that's also conducive to their abilities. So for me, I don't even have my phone on me all day. Even my iPad has all the notifications and the badges turned off so that I can focus on the client. You've probably seen a lot of other tattoo artists, or you may probably do it, using your dirty ass gloves to touch your phone or your iPad. Don't do that shit. That's just nasty. Even if you're just taking off your gloves and for a minute just checking your phone, you have somebody who's sitting in your chair. They've waited weeks or months to make this appointment. They've worked hard and saved all this money. We forget sometimes that this is a life-changing moment for clients. They've waited so long, they've saved so much money, they've done their research just to trust you to permanently mark their body. The least that you can do is give them your full undivided attention and the best experience possible. Eliminate all the distractions, and that distractions even extends into like your workspace. Is it clean? Is it tidy? Like, can you find all of the things that you need to do your job as a tattoo artist for the day? The French have a saying, I'm gonna butcher it. Everything in its place, right? Mise en place. Sorry, don't know how to say it. But everything in its place. So if you need more ink caps, if you need your scissors, if you need stencil stuff, you should know exactly where it is before you reach for it, so that you can just pick it up and get right to work. That allows you to be in that flow state also. Where your trash bin is, where your ointment, where your ink caps, where your needles are, all that stuff is in its place so that you can focus more on the task at hand instead of finding your tools. If you've ever seen a mechanic's garage, you can really judge how well they're able to take care of their cars just because everything is in its place. The ones who have to like open drawers and shut them and open drawers and shut them, like they don't know what the fuck their tools are. Same thing with someone in the kitchen, same thing with someone in the tattoo shop. Creating the best experience possible for the client and the artist requires you to like have the best environment, the best setup. So think about that. Like, what is it in your setup, in your day, is easy for you to access? What do you know is always in its place? And what are some things that can use improvement? For me, like, no matter how my setup is done, I'm always fine-tuning things, shifting things over, readjusting. I'm always learning. Even as recently, Brian Espinal, one of the tattoo artists at Upside Tattoo, decided to shift his ointment over to the other side of his ink caps. I typically put mine to the left of the ink cap so that when I dip, I can grab the ointment and I can tattoo. He put his ointment on the right side of it. I was like, why'd you do that? He says, well, I found myself dropping ink into the ointment as I was dipping, so I just wanted to move it over so I didn't have to clean up after it. It was just this light bulb moment of like, damn, 11 years in tattooing, and I just figured out that little switch saved so much frustration of all the times I've had to like dip ointment with ink on my pinky just to smear it on and to like mess up my stencil. Those little fine-tuning adjustments, those things happen over time if you're aware and observant of what your environment is like and what kind of shifts you can make for the best experience for you to access that flow state. So let me know if you've had something that has worked amazingly well when it comes to like your setup, or even as a client, what your experience has been, or what is not working well for you. Like, what are your frustrations? Like, there's always these adjustments, and that's what I'm all about, is just constantly fine-tuning and refining things to make them better and better in tattooing, in life, in my relationships, in my fitness, in whatever else it is. We have to take that one step forward to make it better and better, and we will have our setbacks. But what can we do to make this better?